Hey there, Matt Philleo in the studio. Today I'll be working on a remarked print. I have a 16 by 20 canvas print that was printed by a company that does these online. And what I want to do, because this is a limited edition set, is take this canvas print and paint some hand-painted artist details on top, which is what we call a remarked print. And this is going to restore some of the contrast and vibrancy, nuances, and so forth that were lost in the original reproduction, and add some of that in and kind of give it its own unique flair so that this canvas print becomes its own work of art. So let me switch over to my other camera and I'm going to show you what's going on. And here we have it. This is Smoldering Wick. This is a 16 by 20 from the original 30 by 40 inch canvas painting. And I sold that last year at an art show. But anyway, this painting is all about the light. If you want to learn more about this painting and my idea behind it, you can go to my website, mattphilleo.com. And in my gallery, I have this image here. It's available for sale, but you can also check and see more about it, just what it's about and why I did it. Anyway, so I have my print up here, and this is an 11 by 14 print that has a little more contrast in it. And I'm going to use that as my template then for restoring this painting. And this is a good canvas print. I just want to add a little bit to it and give it a little more contrast. So I'm going to show you how I do that. I have my palette with kind of my usual array of colors: raw umber dark, burnt sienna, raw sienna, ultramarine blue, naphtha red, Indian yellow, and titanium white. And then I have some clear acrylic glaze, and just so it matches the sheen of this canvas, this is going to be more of a satin glaze than my usual matte medium, but it should still work pretty well for what I'm trying to do here. So one of the things I want to do, because I've already done one of these Remarque prints before, this would be number 2 of 5, is I want to restore some of the contrast in his face. And I'm mixing a white with yellow, with this Indian yellow, and just kind of thinning that out a little bit. And then I'm going to go and add just a few little details to the edge here by his face. I don't want it to be too bright though, because I don't want it to stick out. I do want it to match the existing color profile as close as possible. Just adding a little bit of contrast here to the top. Sometimes in the canvas printing process, they can lose some of that detail and contrast. So we're just going to restore that and add it back in. Going over, looking at my image above and seeing where that needs to be added. I want to just brighten that little reflection on his eye, tiny bit. And add just that little bit of suggestion of tears from his eye on this eyelid below, just by adding a little of that white-yellow mixture, a little bit of a highlight on his nose, and just a little bit of a highlight as well on that thin part of his nose where it would be catching the light. And also on his knuckles, I'm just barely grazing the surface of the canvas here. And then even on his hand, we can begin to get some of that contrast in there. And just gently, now this paint is thinned down. I have some matte medium, or sorry, matte varnish. It's a satin medium with a little gloss medium mixed in, just so it matches again the sheen of this printed canvas. And it's thinned down so that I can really feather it in, make sure it blends in nicely and it's not too stark of a addition. We want this to work with the existing painting and not look like it was just dabbed on at some factory or something. We want it to look like it was really lovingly restored or embellished by the artist, which is what I'm doing right here. So adding a little more contrast to his hand there, his wrist and his hand. I can kind of cross hatch a little bit with the brush to make sure it goes on smooth. There we go. And then I think I'm going to take a little more of a pure white, just slightly toned down. Show that so you can see the mixture. Grab a little more white. And then I'm going to use that on the clothing. It should be a little brighter than the wrist because it's lighter in value. And now this becomes its own unique work of art. It's not exactly like the original because it does have some uniquely painted details on the top. Let's thin that out just a little bit here. In the original painting, that area was quite bright. You can get that brush on really thin if it starts to dig into the paint a little bit. And that really helps. Let's kind of get into a little closer view here. Okay, I'm gonna brighten up the flame in the lamp just a little bit. Ever so slightly. Just get a little bit more of a suggestion of the flame there. Get a little bit of raw sienna, Indian yellow, thin it out a little bit, and then I can blend this lighter white yellow out into that. I'll just add a little more white and Indian yellow to the mix so it has the luminosity that it needs. Just slowly fan it out and kind of dab it a little bit so I can get a little shading in there. Add just a little highlight to the top of the lamp fixture. Had a stray hair on my brush. Need to take care of that. And a little bit of a highlight as well to the servant's hand here. And some highlights as well onto the top of the servant's clothing of his sleeve. We'd have a nice, strong, reflected light coming from the lamp onto his clothing. Also, should be a nice highlight as well on the table that we can capture. And that somehow in the print didn't come out as bright as it could have. Can just restore that right here using a very light touch and a series of very short strokes in different directions, and then we kind of dab out the ends to smooth out the blending. It's got enough medium mixed in that it can glaze very smoothly, and that makes a big difference. Add just a touch to the table. Just to touch the table. All right. And now I'd like to add just a little bit of a highlight to the servant's face above, because some of that was also lost in the printing process. I think you can just barely see that here. Make sure that's diluted enough that it doesn't stick out too much from the original painting. Just get a little bit of that look of moisture under his eyes. Maybe he's sympathizing with the pain that the man below is going through. He's supposed to be symbolic of Jesus Christ, who comforts us in our weaknesses. Now, let's add a little more luminosity to his shirt here. His white shirt under his tuxedo coat. Just kind of thin that out a little bit and fade it. There we go. I'll add just a few more highlights to the man's head here. Maybe just a little bit to his hair. I have to use a little bit of a darker color for that. And then let's add just a couple highlights to this this wick trimmer tray down here. Just kind of make it pop out a little bit. Want something that's just almost white right here. Really can help it to pop and give it some extra pizzazz. Maybe a little bit of a highlight to this kerosene container. And just a touch to the lamp. That's those little tiny details that make such a difference. All right. So I'll probably go through this painting and add some more contrast to the arms in different areas, but I just wanted you to get an idea of what it's like to remark a portrait. If you're an artist or an art appreciator, you can get an idea of how this is done, and as an artist, how you could do this for your own paintings, your prints of your paintings. If you're an art appreciator, then you could begin to appreciate this aspect of prints that have an artist's touch added to them, and they're not just a reproduction, they actually are their own works of art. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. You can connect with more of my artwork at mattphilleo.com, and then don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will be sending more videos to you just like this. So have a blessed day, and I will be in touch.